Well, hello, hello, hello. Happy holidays, everybody, and welcome to the ZBrush live stream. I guess I should say the Pixologic stream. I don't know how long I'll be saying that for, but yeah, interesting stuff happening. Anyway, let's see, we've got quite a few people on already. Let's do the quick sound check with everybody that's tuned in. So if somebody from all three of the services, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, can let me know if you can hear me okay, then we can go ahead and get started. While that is going on, hello Strawberry King, welcome back. And while that's going on, I just wanted to kind of go through this whole thing. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have questions, you can ask questions during the stream. And if you're watching this afterwards, which of course all these episodes are recorded, and if you're watching this afterwards, you can always leave your questions in the comments, and it will be answered. So this is my last stream for this calendar year. My last personal stream, I should say, because I'm also doing a group stream on Tuesday, the 21st at 6 p.m. So that's going to be an interesting. The last one I did was really fun, so that's going to be really interesting. Tune in for that. It's in the calendar. But anyway, so much for this stuff. And let's go ahead and continue with our model. So it looks like you can hear me fine on YouTube. That's awesome. Anybody on Twitch can hear me okay? Let me know. And also on Facebook. I think there's a little bit of a delay on Facebook, so that's fine. But I think if we've got 2 down, we should be okay with the rest. All right, Twitch people, sound off. Let's hear ya. Right, still waiting. Anyway, while we're doing that, here's a render of the model that I just did, just kind of to get some sort of an idea. I did a little bit of work on this, not much, but I'll go over what I did briefly, and if you guys have questions on it, you can ask. But this is kind of what it's starting to look like. It's getting there. I think we're pretty much close to finishing it. And also, I did do some renders. Let me go ahead and bring those up. We can kind of look through those. All right, good. Well, all right, so Twitch is good, so I think we're good to go. All right, so let's take a quick look at some of the renders that I did. Let's wait for this to come up. Here we go. So at this point, I usually take it into Keyshot, and I start kind of looking at colorways and just looking at what things look like. This is a little bit earlier than the state it's in now. But just, kind of playing around with some ideas, seeing, what kind of materials I can use, what kind of colors look okay. And this is just kind of an exercise I go through at this point in time, just to give myself some sort of an idea of what the final render is going to look like. So this is still rough, but I think it gives me a good idea. I think this is a good time to bring it into Keyshot to see if there's anything that jumps out that I don't really think is working. So here are some kind of darker color renders. I was watching The Expanse the other day, and I thought, I kind of like the color of their suits, although I think there is a little bit of interesting stuff that could make them a lot more compelling. But it's the last season, so maybe the next kind of show of that. Anyway, so here are some of the darker renders, and here's kind of a gray render. And the thing with this music is it keeps going louder and softer, so I'm trying to keep a little bit of it in the background. Right, so here's a couple other renders. Here's one from the top. And then I put a background on, and I think that's what you see in the promo image. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea, more or less, of how this is going to start to look. And inside of ZBrush itself, I also did a non-photorealistic render, kind of like a pencil sketch, just to give myself an idea of what that's going to look like. All right, so that's kind of where I'm at with this. And at this point in time, I think, the gloves, I think, were the last thing I was doing last time. So I've kind of done a little bit of work there. I haven't really subdivided it or done any kind of detail work on it yet, but I will. And so the first thing that I did is let me solo it out. I worked on the actual outfit itself. And I did a few things. One is I did some poly paint, and you can see here that if you kind of get up close, there's a little bit of spillage, I guess is the best way to call it. You can see a little bit of the brush strokes could be a little bit tighter over here. But again, I'm looking at this thing more from this distance, and it looks fine. So not only did I color it, I basically picked 3 colors. So I'm assuming that this material right here, which is kind of more of the whitish color, this is some sort of a cloth material. So, and you can kind of see the pattern. I'll talk to you guys about how I did that in a minute. So this is more kind of a bendable cloth. And so, you see it kind of on the back of the leg here and in the arms. And then this black material is more kind of a shielded material. And it's kind of a harder material, so it's made of some sort of kind of a rubbery material maybe. And so I basically assigned a different material to it. It doesn't really matter what material it is. The reason why I do assign a color and a material is because when I take it into Keyshot, I can just drag and drop materials onto this section, and it will take on its color characteristic. And then this other color, which is kind of a grayish color, which is here on the breasts and also here in the abdomen and a little bit over here and on the back. This would kind of be more like another type of leather or rubbery material, maybe a little bit harder just because it kind of maybe holds certain aspects of things or is kind of more protective. And lastly, this material over here, which I'm going to paint right now, which is going to be something different. This is a magnetic material so that when she is in space, she can attach things to it, right? So as she's floating in space, you hear a lot about these like hammers just flying off of astronauts and whatnot and orbiting the planet and something like that. So, if you're working on something in space, instead of buckling it to something, you magnetically attach it to this area. All right, so let's go ahead and start doing that. So for that, I'm just going to pick a metallic material. Doesn't matter which one. Again, it should look a little bit like it, but for the most part, it's just going to be a representation of an area that's going to be assigned a material in Keyshot. Okay, and I'm going to resize my brush here, and let's switch colors, and let's see what that, would help if I was on the right brush. Oh, let me do this again. This radial menu is really gigantic when I switch my screen to 1080p, so let me go ahead and switch it back down to something smaller. I'm waiting for the Wacom. Maybe I should just click on it. Here we go. Where'd you go? Come back and stay. All right. Here we go. And what I'm going to do is just go to edit it. And let's bring the size down to this. Okay, that's more like it. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start painting. Now, one of the things, the paintbrush has lazy mouse on by default. I'm going to turn it off. And also I'm going to pick a harsher alpha, maybe, let's see, how about this one? No, that's kind of got a bit of a fringe. Let's go with a square alpha right there. Okay, so that way I am kind of getting close to the edge and not bleeding over. Now, one thing I didn't do, which I should have done, is turn mRGB on, because I want to paint with material and I want to paint with also with the color. So you can see here you got these weird kind of blotchiness, and I think there's a way to turn that off. Let me see if this is it. Nope. There was a way to do it, and I forgot. If anybody on the chat knows, let me know. I'm not going to get out of here to do a quick YouTube search on it, and it also doesn't really matter. I mean, all I'm caring about is just getting this material to go to the edge of this area. All right, let's see. We've got a few comments here. Yeah, the last season is pretty good. It started out with it started out great. There's like some weird story that they show at the beginning, which I'm kind of not very sure about. And I can't really spoil anything for you guys because I don't think they've revealed what the significance of it is. But maybe people who have read the book know. But yeah, it's still kind of the spaceships and the space battles in it, and kind of the suspension of disbelief of, you know, is kind of really close to near future man conquers space as I've seen. So, all right, oops, get back. All right, so I mean, this is basically what I did before. You just have to be a little bit more careful. In production, I usually take a really good amount of time to do this. But here, I'm going to hurry it up just a little bit, but not too much. All right. Yeah, Inaros. You don't like Inaros? Yeah, no, he definitely plays the villain. Like he plays the super villain. There are some annoying characters, but for the most part, I think the show works. Oops. So one thing about painting when you're doing this is lift the brush every once in a while, because if you make a mistake and you undo, you go back pretty far. Here we go. And it looks like I need to come back and fix a few things. Notice there's a little bit of bleed over from some of the materials, and again, it doesn't really matter the angle I'm going to be looking at it from. So that's all good. Like so. All right, so we're good there. So now I'm going to kind of bite back. So I'm going to go back to RGB. Of course, I can't remember. I think this is basic material. Is it reflective plastic? I don't remember. We'll see. I'm going to go back to basic material. I'm going to pick this color. Let me go to mRGB here too. Nope, it's not basic material. I wonder if it's, maybe it's reflected plastic. It has to be one of these two. Nope, not that one either. How about basic material too? Not that either. Jeez. I wish there was a way to guess the material of what something is. Let me see if I drag and drop. Oh, it does work. Oh, so good. Oh, it's this one right here. So I just discovered something new about ZBrush that I didn't know just by experimenting. So if you want to find out what material something is, you just drag from the material onto the area, and then it tells you what material it is. Now I'm picking the color, and now I'm fixing this area right here. Oh, that's so cool. So the good news is once you learn ZBrush to a certain extent, I think you can take some educated guesses, and 9 times out of 10 they work. So you can see even somebody with my level of knowledge of ZBrush is always learning new stuff. So Sometimes I just learn it for that specific task that I'm doing, and sometimes people are texting me. Sometimes I just learn it for the specific thing, or sometimes I learn it just to kind of expand my level of knowledge. All right, so let's grab this material and this color and fix this one little area over here. All right, so now we've got that going. So that's basically what I did. I just basically painted all the stuff, these colors, and let me see, do I need to fix this area just a little bit? Sure, why not? While we're at it, a little bit of painting is always soothing and fun. All right, and now let's go back to here and this color and bite it back. Like that. All right, so I think we are good there. So then the next question is, how did I get this? Let me switch back to this material right here. And the other question is, how do I get that texturized? How do I get this texturized thing to work? All right, so let's see. Yeah, I know. I mean, there's stuff that I know and I forget and then I rediscover. So it's just one of these things where there's a lot of buttons, there's a lot of menu items, there's a lot of stuff in ZBrush, and you don't use them all the time, and sometimes you forget what they are. But if you know the basics, I think it's easy to rediscover them. All right, so. In my ZBrush classes, I usually tell my students, the critical parts that they need to know right off the bat, and those are really important to know, because if you don't know those things, you're going to be really lost in ZBrush. So once you know those things, then you are a happy camper, but if you don't know them, then you are going to struggle. So yeah, I tell my students that a lot of ZBrush users are lost when they encounter a few things in the beginning, and that kind of is what gives it its reputation of being a difficult program or having a difficult interface. But once you know what those things are, it's really just like any other program. All right, so let's see. You guys are a quiet bunch. There's quite a few of you on there. Anybody have anything they want to talk about? 2 new movies coming out very soon. I think Spider-Man is out. Have not seen it yet, and The Matrix is around the corner. Right, just fixing this kind of thing in the back here, and let me add another subdivision level to it, and let's see if I can give it a little bit of a polish. It's a little bit faceted, but it doesn't really matter. Let's just give it a tiny bit of polish. A little bit more. Let's do polish by features. A little bit more. And it looks like we have to do a little bit of manual work. Oops. H polish. All right, here we go. That's looking okay, just in case we look at it from the back. And this is where the wires and everything would be housed. That's one of the things that I find funny in the Expanse, is that they've got these amazing ships and everything, and they're flying in space and whatever, but they still have wires on their spacesuits. So you'd think that's something they would have gotten rid of by now, but I guess wires add a interesting aspect to it, but I'm kind of going for more design and kind of high-tech design here. That's the other thing that's kind of neat about the Expanse too, is that the designs are, kind of more like, a lot of the belters are just basically like, workers, so they don't really, they can't afford really nice stuff. Although I love the way they talk, and I love the kind of the suspension of disbelief that they have with the tattoos and everything. It's just really cool. The world building in Expanse is just phenomenal. Whoever the concept designers are amazing. There's a good art book too, by the way, if anybody is interested. It's out there. I got it a while back. And as soon as I unpack my library, I'm going to spend a good amount of time with some of these books that I've put away for a while. Do I think Bob Lazar is telling the truth? Who's Bob Lazar? Is that Bobby? Is that the Marine lady? This has become the Expanse, or not podcast, but stream. He says he was the inside of a UFO. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think who was it the other day that, when asked about UFOs, had a really interesting perspective. They said we have all these like high resolution cameras, especially now. Like everybody has a really decent camera in their pocket, right? And you've got these Air Force people that are in airplanes, probably able to photograph a fly on a wall somewhere. With their technology, and all the pictures we see of UFOs are these like blurry images. Like if somebody gets a decent picture of one, then maybe we can start like going, okay, well, wait a minute. But as far as I know, I think it's all just playing into our need for wanting there to be one. Speaking of UFO, anybody here has seen the I want to say Wes Anderson, but it's not Wes Anderson. The UFO series I think it's from the 60s or 70s. I think the show is called UFO. It's a British show. Why can't I think of the guy's name? Oh, he claimed to work in Area 51. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much BS flying around nowadays. Things like that I will take with a grain of salt. And let me see here. UFO TV show. Yeah, so it was a TV show, and I think there was a movie too. But the TV show, yeah, here we go. This thing right here. It was from the 1970s. I'll bring up the Wikipedia page. I thought this show right here was really, really amazing. So it is by Jerry Anderson. That's the name of the guy. Not Wes Anderson. So Jerry Anderson, he's got a lot of other kind of the puppet shows and whatever. But you guys look at some of the, if you're not familiar with it, look at some of the characters. So innovative for the time. 1970s we're talking. And I don't know why she's coming up a lot. But the spaceship, this thing is pretty neat. They had neat cars, and the UFOs looked like UFOs. They looked like this, and they spun around. So, but yeah, the helmets were cool. Like for 1970, this is pretty amazing. Yeah, this is what the UFOs look like right here. And they spun around. The main guy, I think Stryker is his name, had this car, which was really neat. So anyway, it was a really nice show. If you guys can get a chance to look at it. I think it still kind of holds up. It's cheesy, but some of it is really neat. All right. Okay, so no comments on any of that. The music for it was kind of neat too. It was a computer that was spitting out a piece of paper. It's really interesting to see how we predicted the future would be and how different it has been. Like, not in a single sci-fi movie has some of the disinformation that's happening been predicted. Like, who knew that we would have tools like Facebook and some of the other things, and have it be so abused. All right, so moving on to how I did the pattern. So you can kind of see here that I've got a little bit of a pattern, and I've destroyed some of it already, so I'm going to go back in and bring it back. So the way I did that is I just basically took this spacesuit. So this spacesuit right now has 6 subdivision levels. So I took it at a certain number of subdivision levels. Here, I'll solo it out, and I don't know which one it was, but I basically found a subdivision level that looked good. And then I went to dynamic. I think I still might. Okay, I don't have it on. I think I already accepted it. But I went to dynamic subdiv, and let me see if I can do this again. Let me see if I can do a version of it again, just so you guys can see how it's done. And it's a pretty neat trick. So let's say I've got this spacesuit right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it. So there's a copy of it. So here it is, and then with this duplicate, I'm going to go down in subdivision levels, and I'll turn polyframe on. I'll go down in subdivision levels to maybe something like this. Let me go up one more, maybe 2, 3, 4. I think this is good enough. So I'm basically just looking at the sizes of these squares that are here, and I'm thinking, okay, I want a item to be in one of those squares. So I think this is a bit too much. So I'll go down to 3. I'm going to delete higher and delete lower, right? And so I just have this kind of as my suit. And then I'll just go into dynamic subdiv. And I don't want smoothness at this point, but I do want did I delete the higher levels and lower levels? I did. So what's going on with this? Oh, I don't have it here. That's what's going on. I'll go to geometry, dynamic subdiv over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn micropoly on. So here's all the different micropolys, and let's say I pick this one. Let me turn this off. So now I'm kind of have this pattern on here, which is good, and I can see what this looks like with one subdivision level. And so here it is. So now I've got this pattern right here. Okay. So now that I like it, if this is good, and I just picked one of the ones that just comes with ZBrush, but you can choose any one. Like, let's see what it looks like this. So that's a different kind of pattern, or how about this, right? I'll try a few just, for kicks. So you can see different ones here. And last but not least, let's go for, how about, let's see which one's interesting. Let's try this one right here. Whoops, moved off of it too fast. Come on. All right, this one. Okay. And I think this is kind of falling apart at this. You can see here, it's not filling it in. But I think that's because it's got too many subdivision levels. So if I go back down, smooth back down to 0, it comes to this. And then if I want this, you can see the alignment isn't right, so I can just click on align and it will align it for me, and there it is, right? So suppose that this is just another one of the patterns I want, right? So now I have it. And if you click on apply, it applies it to the suit. And I don't really need to have the materials or the colors on here. So I'm just going to go to mRGB here and fill this thing with, just whatever this is. Right, so here it is. Here's the entire thing in its entirety with the pattern, right? So then, so I've got another one of these. Might as well keep it. You never know, I might need it at some point. So I'm just going to move this into my builders folder. This thing's in the way. You okay? I'm just going to move it down further. Come on. Here it is. Okay, so these are just this is just a folder of stuff I'm keeping that I'm not using. And a lot of stuff that's up here is going to go into there, but for now it's not. Okay, so now that I've got that, and this is the one that I did before, so similar kind of concept, but it looks like this. Okay, and then what I did is I just inflated it just a little bit, right? And then I brought this guy up. Okay, and I want to mask the other areas that is not this. So this material is going to be applying to this area. And you can see here I'm going to reapply it to some areas that have kind of lost some of that pattern. So all I do is hide everything else. So all I have is my cat is like, I need to be part of this. Okay, so now I turn solo off. And I basically am just seeing this object, this and this underneath it. Okay, and you can kind of see it protruding a little bit, right? But I don't want to have any of this area be affected by it. So I'm just going to go to adjust colors. And I'm going to create a mask. So I just drag and drop to that area and it'll mask everything else. So everything else is masked, right? And all that's not masked is this. And then I use the morph brush, so BM, where are you, morph brush, and not morph brush, sorry, the project brush, and I think it's either Z project or project. I think it's Z project, Z project. So Z project, and so that's basically going to go inside of the model, right? And then I just basically gently start brushing what's there, and since it has 6 subdivision levels, it's just going to pick up that pattern just like that. How cool is that, right? So that's good. Now is this, yeah, I inadvertently I didn't want to do this, so I'm going to go undo this a few times. We'll do it one more time, but I think I masked this area right here, but I didn't mask this area right here, so I'll go do that as well. So go to adjust colors again and drag and drop one to here, and that's on as well. Actually, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn inverse mask off. I'm going to mask this area and I'm going to mask this area, so both of those are masked. Okay, let's see this in action. Nope. Clear the mask. Do this one more time. Okay, so I want inverse mask off. I want to mask this area. I think maybe I need to play with the tolerance. Here we go. And so this area, nope. Why am I not getting this? Let me try this one more time. Right, I'm going to mask this area, and I'm not inverting it, and I'm going to do the tolerance so I think this should do it right here, and I'm going to invert the mask. Yep, that's what I wanted. Okay, so back to doing this. So you see all these areas are, and it's Z project, so you want to be doing this while you're looking straight at it, right? So you don't want to do the edges because they'll streak. You just want to do kind of the straight away, whatever you're looking at it straight away. So here I'm going to go down to the legs and do this area right here. So you can see it getting that pattern, and you can hit Alt to bring, if it's too deep, you can hit Alt to bring it out. Go down here, so this has lost a lot of it, so I can just bring all that back and then rotate this. Now you have to note that this is happening symmetrically, but not really happening symmetrically, right? Do I have RGB on? Of course I do. Turn RGB off because I'm just going to sculpt. I don't think it matters, but you know, it's always better safe than sorry. So here I'm just basically bringing up that pattern. I can see there's a lot of questions. I'm just going to take my time and do this, and then I'll get to them. Right. Now, some of these areas I don't really need to be very precious about. And again, I'm just kind of assuming that this isn't just going to be a still image, that it is going to be an asset that's going to be used as a concept in the show. Okay, so you can see what happened over here, right? So you know, that's kind of a thing to look out for. Now let me see if I can undo it. Yeah, here we go. I think there are certain areas where you have to be very careful, otherwise you start, you know, if you're yeah, here we go. That's happening at that angle. So you got to be at the right angle to do this, right? So that's one thing you got to be careful about. All right, I think that's good enough. Let's hide this one and see how we're doing. Oh, look at all the mess I made over here. All right, let's undo this. All right, let's bring this back. Not that one, but this one. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to fill this object with this color. It's RGB on. Okay, and solo it out. Let's see if there's any other areas. I think this is good enough. Okay, so let's look at some of the questions. Get a swig of tea here. Love the tea. Yeah, 70s sci-fi shows are awesome. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I would definitely give it a watch. Ancient Aliens. Wow. Yeah, I've kind of I don't think I've ever seen a single episode of that. It's always interesting to think of that as a concept. Oh, okay. So yeah, 10% off ZBrush. Oh, by the way, yeah, if you don't have ZBrush, get it. It's 10% off. This would be a good time to get it. Now or the ZBrush Summit are the only times I think they discount ZBrush. Otherwise, it's, you know, not discounted at all. All right, cat haze closed doors. Yeah, they do. All right, neat technique. All right, awesome. So no questions. I think we're good. Let me see here. I think this area looks like it could use a bit of a touch more of this. So let's try and do that. And I think for the most part, let me see. Do I have this showing? I do. Turn solo off. Yeah, just this area right here could use a little bit of extra detail, right? And so I'm only doing these areas. I'm not doing the rest of it. And again, I just have to be careful not to mess it up. See here. Okay, so I got a little bit of that weird fringe thing happening over here, so let's fix that. Now, one thing you can also do is you can lower the subdivision levels and do this and then build up, but it kind of is okay. I think we're doing good. And again, this isn't really, you know, I mean, again, nobody's going to be zooming in on this to this level of detail, but even from a distance, just having a little bit of that effect looks really good. All right, let's bring everybody back and hide these suits. I've got a few versions of the suits for good reason. Okay, so this one right here can now go into that folder. You know, one thing that would be beautiful is if you can kind of create a break here so you can have a folder down below and not have to scroll all the way down. I think Maya has that. It's a pretty neat feature. All right, so this is the main suit. So let's start calling renaming these things. So this is the body. I should have done this before, but oops, I want a new folder. I'm gonna rename this to body, not biddy. And then rename this one to main body suit. And then these ones I don't want to name. I've got one for helmet. So with the helmet I did a little bit of work. So that's all I did with the costume. That's basically all of what I did. And so I think for the most part the costume itself is pretty much done. So the next thing I want to do here, let's see what's going on here. Did I? No, that's good. The next thing I did was for the helmet, I just kind of fixed it a little bit, not really much, but I added this piece right here, and I'll turn polyframe off so you can see it. So basically I just extracted a piece out and created this like mouthpiece, and then I did a little bit of polishing on here. I'm probably going to put in some sort of a insert mesh item over here, yeah, that's good enough. And I'll probably put some sort of a insert mesh item over here as well. I'll probably do that today if I have some time. I did a little bit of work on these headphones here. And just to kind of, I think I added this ridge earlier and I don't want it, so I'm gonna get rid of it. There we go, that's better. I do want that ridge over here, but not on the edge, because I kind of like this smooth edge over here. So that's good. I'll probably put some decal or something in here to make it look good. I did a tiny bit of work in the back here, not much, of the helmet. So I'm going to do a little bit of H polish over here. Just getting rid of some of those ridges. And here there's a little bit of chatter, but again, it's not really going to show. Yeah, I just kind of did a little bit of work, a little bit of detail work on the helmet. I could kind of polish up this area too. Let's see, how many subdivision levels do we have? We can divide this one more time. Maybe that's too much. Let's see, what did that bring it to? Yeah, I don't think we need 3 million polys for the helmet. I think, oh, I did just divide it again. Okay, let's just, okay, good. Give it back. I don't need that 6th level. So I'm going to go back down to 5 and delete higher. I think that's good enough for the helmet. I forget that the helmet itself also has the inside part, which I don't really need. I could probably get rid of it. But at this point, it's fine. Also, it's got these earpieces. I mean, if I need to kind of clean up geometry, I can get rid of the parts that are not showing. So I can focus more on these parts, and I could probably separate this top part out if I want to add more detail to it. But I think I'm okay with it. I don't really need to do much work there. So let's see. I think I'm good with the top of the helmet. I think again from this distance it looks okay. Oh, okay, cool. So people are chatting with each other. Okay, good. All right. Let's see what else we can do here. Let me go back to the headphones. Just clean up some of this. I'm going to choose a basic material 2 here, just because I want to control the specular. Whoa, what is going on with this? Oh, that's what's going on. I turned mRGB on. No worries. I can always just turn that on. Fill object. Go to the helmet. Fill object also, and get rid of that weirdness. Okay. All right, so I think the helmet is okay. This thing in the back is okay. We'll call that done. This is done. This is done for the most part. Again, with decals and materials, these will start kind of popping. I still have a little bit of work to do over here in this neck piece, and I'll do that in a minute. Other things I did is I just basically took this piece and I thought it looked better over here. And what's going on over here? I think there was some weirdness going on with the material. Let me just paint that in there. Paint, just M. Whatever this material is, I think there's a little bit of edging going on over here. Oh, I'm not on. I'm like, why isn't it working? I'm not on the subtool. All right, here we go. There's just a bit of material bleed over. I'm just fixing that. All right. So, yep. So the helmet, the next piece we need to work on a little bit. The gloves we definitely need to work on a little bit. These, I don't know if you remember, but I made these and they were over here, but I thought these latches looked better. So I just kind of put that there. I did a little bit of work on this piece over here, not much. Again, a lot of the details will come in with decals and stuff. And I took this, made a bigger version of it, put it over here. It made it look a little bit better. And yeah, I did a little bit of coloring of the boots as well. I think the boots look, decent enough with decals and stuff. They'll look fine. But I think we're getting very close to being done with this this model. One other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the visor and solo that out. Now the visor itself has a little bit of thickness, and the thickness is done with dynamic subdiv. I'm just going to go ahead and apply that thickness. So now it does have a thickness to it, and I'm going to use H polish, turn on back face mask, and I think I have that. Where do I have it? Nope. Back face mask, where are you? Here you are. Okay, back face mask, dynamics, brush, run. Nope, this isn't it. Here we go. Mask, back face mask. And did I accept the, yeah, I didn't, okay. So now I'm just going to fix this kind of inside part that's not, because we're going to see the inside part as well. The reason why I'm doing this, I'm adding thickness to it, is this is going to be glass. So in Keyshot, when I add a refractive glass material to it, that the inside will kind of show. And I think that was in the render, so you saw it already, but you could see some of these inside artifacts. I'm just fixing those. And I can always add a decal to this as well to just obfuscate some of those if I need to. So all in all, I think I spent maybe about another 2 hours on this off camera. Just because it's such a cool model, I kind of missed working on it. And also, we're probably going to be wrapping this up. I don't know if I'm going to do, maybe I'll do 1 or 2 more episodes on it, but today hopefully we'll get to posing it. How are we doing on time? Oh, we got plenty of time. Good, good, good. All right. All right. Nightbot is coming in with the discount information. Wow, we're almost an hour into this thing, and nobody has mentioned the elephant in the room. Which is always a good thing, I guess. Hey guys, what are you guys doing for the holidays? Anybody traveling? Nobody's traveling? I don't blame you. I'm not traveling either. Here we go. What are my thoughts on it? Well, I don't know any more than anybody else does. Change is always kind of makes people nervous. But I just have one thing to say, and that is that one of my artists that I admire a lot, Vitaly Bulgarov, still uses XSI from forever ago. And if you watch his XSI videos today, they're still as amazing. So, ZBrush as it stands is an amazing tool, and I am sure that the creators of the software want to do amazing things with it, and maybe this gives them the opportunity to do it. So I'm kind of excited about it. And I think that's kind of the extent of what I can say about it. Other than that, I don't know. I know as much as you do. I found out about it on Tuesday, and I was like, what the? But, you know, I mean, it's an eventuality. I mean, I've seen Max go through 3 different, I mean, you know, before it was Discrete, I think, was the company. No, it wasn't Discrete. Discrete was the second one. So I don't know what 3ds Max, like there was, you know, I recently gave away my older boxes of Max. And I think it was Discrete first, and then it was Kinetics bought it. And then I think Autodesk bought it after that, right? So it's gone through 3 different owners. And I mean, there's still a lot of Max users. They like it. I stopped using it because I went to XSI, and then we know what happened there. And then I went to Maya, and I haven't updated Maya since 2019. I still am on 2019. It does everything I need it to do. And I didn't really want to subscribe until they give me some features that I really need. And that has not happened yet. I'm still on Substance Painter before Adobe bought it. I haven't subscribed to that yet either. Who knows what'll happen there. But I think they've been adding some interesting things, so I might revisit it and see what the new things are. And I think you can still buy that through Steam. I think you can still get it. But I have to say this. One of the things that really kind of cracks me up is, you know, the day this announcement was made, a lot of people were just going nuts online about it and being really rude and obnoxious for no reason whatsoever. But a lot of people were like, well, we're going to go to Blender. And my thought was like, why aren't you going to Blender now? Like, you know, it's there and it's free. So if this is what's going to get you to try it and look into it, then I don't know what to tell you. Blender has some neat stuff, but it sure is not ZBrush, for sure. All right. So I think that's all I'm going to talk about that. And let's see. Birdaid, you're asking whether I need a tablet. Yes, I think that at a minimum, a tablet would really help you with ZBrush. So there's a couple really good ones. Wacom is really, you know, I've been using Wacom tablets forever, and I love them. I think they do an amazing job, and so I like them. And then I think there's another company, and a lot of people that used to work at Wacom are working for it. And it's got a kind of a funny name, but a friend of mine just recently told me he's working there now. I forget the name of it. It starts with an X. All right, let's let this autosave. Theodore Smash. Wow. Okay. Sure. Here we go. I don't know. I think World War III is going to be between the Blender people and the Taylor Swift people. I think Blender fans and Taylor Swift fans are really diehard. So, all right. So yeah, I mean, I have Blender. I use it. I purchased a lot of plugins for it. And when I have a free minute, I go in and check it out. And like I said, it's come a long way. But whenever I get work, I still end up using Maya, mostly because of me, because I'm more familiar with it, and because you know, I mean, I'm still getting my muscle memory to work well in Blender, but I've been using Maya for almost 10 years now, so I've got a lot of muscle memory built around that. Same thing with ZBrush. So yeah. Let's see. I think the important thing about these programs is the time you spend customizing them, the time you spend kind of tuning them to what you want. And you know, you should be flexible enough to go to something new, but on the flip side, that transition is going to be harder and harder as you get more and more entrenched. So all the new kids that are getting up on Blender now are starting to build that muscle memory and those libraries and that workflow, which is great. But you always have to wonder what Blender will look like in 5 years or 10 years. I think the closest thing I have to compare it to is Linux. So when Linux first kind of hit the market, it was kind of, everybody's like, nobody's ever going to use Windows again. Linux is going to take over or whatever. And it did take over in some industries and some servers or whatever. But the desktops are still Windows and Mac. How many of you use Linux on your desktop? And IBM paid a significant amount of money to buy Red Hat. So, you know, nothing to say that, you know, Blender won't be bought by some company in the future too. Who knows? All right. XP Pen. Lord Papouche, I don't know what you're asking. XP Pen, what's XP Pen? Is that the name of the company? Oh, Turbo Grappler. I think that's a very good point. But I think there'll be corporate support for Blender too. I think a lot of companies, have their pipelines in Maya right now, but a lot of companies I've talked to lately, they don't care what you use. They just want the FBX file or OBJ file. So you could be working in Blender. But yeah, as far as pipelines or whatnot, it'll be interesting to see if like a major production studio goes Blender. Like if they just make the announcement that we're doing Blender and we're going after it and we're going to support it, and then like some vendor or somebody supports it as well. From a consulting perspective, I think it might be the thing to do. But for now, it's still kind of in the growing stages. Oh. No, I don't think it's called XP Pen. I think it's called, what's it called? Here, let me see if I can find it. It's like a weird pronunciation of a... Let me see if there's a comparison here somewhere. Oh, come on. My cat is just going crazy wanting to come in here. And I'd let her in, but she just will not let me work. Let me just take Wacom off and put graphic. I guess there's a Huyan, yeah, that's one too, but that's not the one I was thinking about. What's it called? Come on. well, Wacom really owns the. They really own the. Yeah, I guess there is something called XP Pen, but that's not the one I was talking about. I think there's a third one. Anyway, I can't find it. I don't know. Maybe if somebody looks it up and lets me know. But yeah, there's another one that some of the Wacom people that work there, and a friend of mine worked there. I hadn't heard of it either, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you know." Yeah, she's, and you know, I fed her right before this too, so she should be sleeping. But yeah, no, she's. Oh no. Then you know you get into the sad meows, like, please. I'll let her in at the end. Yeah, it's gonna have another look at her. All right. Yeah, I know. All right. Any other questions? I don't know if Wacom is overpriced, man. You know, I have had the same Wacom tablet, although it's one of the new ones, and I see a lot of artists using even older ones than the one I have. And I've been using it for a really long time. The only thing I've changed out are the nibs of the pen. So I've ordered a set of nibs because I've basically gone through whatever comes in the base. And also the Surface, I'm getting close to ordering a new one of those. But they last a long time. I mean, it's a really good investment. I don't think it's overpriced at all. And if you kind of watch out for sales, I think you can get one for, I mean, the one I'm using is the medium one. I don't even know if you need that. You could probably get away with one of the smaller ones. But yeah, I mean, I've gotten my money out of it for sure. It's a good investment. I don't think they're overpriced at all. I think they're designed well like Apple is, for sure. And their drivers are pretty solid too. They've gotten a lot better. I don't think I've gotten a driver upgrade for a while, so I don't know. I don't know if they've released a new tablet either. Usually they release a new one. I haven't seen a new one released, so hopefully they're doing okay. It would be interesting if they got acquired by Apple, though. That would be funny. All right. I think this is good enough work on this. So let's bring everybody back. Yep, that's looking good. So I'm going to do a quick render here to see how these lines that I just added are going to juxtapose against the face that's inside. Oh, you're saying Huion is super fragile? Yeah. Well, that's the other thing about Wacom is that, well, I think I hid the body, so this is kind of interesting looking right here. Oh. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have experience. Oh yeah, it's keeping the shadows. Let me just re-render it. I don't have any experience with Huion. I have no idea. I've never seen one even. I think there might have been one in a show or something like that, but I don't think I've ever seen one in real life. So I'll take your word for it. Yeah, no, Wacom, the build quality, everything about it is good. Like if you buy a Wacom tablet, you could probably use it your entire life and be okay with it. All right, yeah, that's good. So that kind of frames the face really well. So that's looking good. And I kind of really like this kind of pencil effect that I'm getting here, like it's drawn with pencil. So I might do a render this way. Okay. Yeah. God, I wish I knew what that other one was called. I could, you know, plug it for my friend, but I forgot what its name is. Actually, here, let me look him up. Maybe he has it in his page. I'm completely going off on a tangent here, but I might as well tell you because I think it's a little bit, I don't know if it's as expensive, maybe it's a little bit cheaper. he's saying all this stuff here. You know what would be nice is if you could kind of connect an iPad to a PC like you can with a Mac. That could be an interesting thing too. Although iPads aren't cheap either. Is he no longer part of that? Let's see here. All right, let's look at it. Look at his website. Maybe he says it there. No, let's see. Maybe it's in his LinkedIn. I'm sorry, I'm completely going off on a tangent now, but I have to remember the name. I thought I was doing a search, but I want to do a post with his name. All right, let's see. Maybe he's not on LinkedIn. Maybe not. Here we go. One more time. There it is. Oh, yeah. It's X. Here's the name. I'll put it in the chat. What happened to my mouse? Here we go. That's it. Somebody just typed it in. So it's basically pronounced Sense Labs or something like that. Yeah, that's what it is. And yeah, I mean I haven't had one, I haven't used one. Maybe I should ask him to send me one so I can try one out. But, you know, that's like another option right there. And the company has a bunch of people that used to be with Wacom. So who knows? But I will say again and again, you cannot go wrong with a Wacom tablet. Like if you get one, you'll be set for life. Okay, this one could use another subdivision level over here. All right. All right, so that's our big tablet tangent that we went on. By the way, I am looking to doing streams of my own, just because I work a lot in ZBrush, sometimes on personal projects, more so recently. So I'm thinking of doing my own Twitch channel, and so stay tuned for that. I'll still continue to stream with ZBrush Live for sure, but maybe I'll do another project. I'm working on 2-3 different projects right now, personal projects that I could probably be working on as well online. So I'll probably do that soon here. It's like so many things to learn, and you know I got to learn about how to do that and get it going, but it can't be that big of a deal. And I also want to do it like I do this one, where it gets recorded and I can share it on YouTube. So it's available for future consumption. All right. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it isn't more popularized, but they're out there. They're definitely a player in the game. Who knows? I think the name is pretty funky though. Like if he had my friend hadn't told me what it was, I would never have guessed it was Sense. I thought it was like maybe some Chinese or Korean word. So Yeah. All right, so this thing over here is kind of like a pouch that has some stuff in it. It's a little bit, I kind of like this part right here. So this probably is going to be kind of a harder piece of metal or plastic. Probably plastic. Metal kind of right there would hurt. Maybe it's got like some sort of lung support or something like that. Who knows? Guys, I'll ask you guys a question. What do you guys think of the SpaceX spacesuits? All right. This part here is kind of a softer part, so it's got a little bit of that strap underneath, or whatever this is underneath, showing up. Okay, so that's good. I kind of don't know what to do here. I kind of like the way it is, but it seems like there's something else that needs to be added in this area just to kind of punch it up a bit, and something over here too. So I'll start digging into, whoa, look at what happened here. This isn't good. Wonder how much back I have to go to get that. Oh man. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll have to do this coloration again. Did I already hide that piece? I did hide it, didn't I? Oh, no worries. That's why I have this folder full of stuff in that's old. So I can always bring it back and fix conditions like this. So this is the area that needs to be fixed. So let me go to BZ, ZProject. And what I'm going to do here is just go down to lower subdivision level and fix this stretching of geometry. And then keep working myself up in subdivision levels and fixing it. Right, one more, I think. Last one. So that basically smoothed it out all out right here. And now I can just go to the ZProject and just project this material back on. Let's see if that worked. Kind of. I think I kind of pushed this in a bit. Here we go. That's looking okay. Wow, it completely messed up the other side. All right, so what we're going to do is turn symmetry off and do these individually. I just think I tweaked this pant leg going into the boots a little bit too much. So I think that's why it was having that issue. It just doesn't know where to go. But I always tell my students whenever I have a problem, it's awesome because then I can show you how I problem solve, which I tell them most of what their job is going to be is, as designers or as CG people. All right, that's looking okay. It looks a bit lumpy, but doesn't matter. I can adjust it later. All right. A little bit of a diversion there, but we're back on track, I think. hide these pieces right here. Okay, so that's good. So the costume's done. Let me see if I can do a little bit more work on the shoes here. Just tighten them up a bit. Am on, I do. You like the helmet, Turbo Grappler? Love that name. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I like it. I think I've got inspiration from Space Odyssey 2001 a little bit, and everything else in my visual vocabulary, I guess. I didn't really use much of reference for this model. I think I started out with some, but I've never referred to it. I think I'm just basically going off of the alphas that I projected. So if you guys watched the beginning of how I started this, it's really interesting the journey it's gone through. So before, I basically projected some patterns onto a body and then just extruded those into a lot of what you see now. And a lot of it is gone, but some of it is still there. But it's a great place to start. And if you don't want to work from reference, it's a good way to get some ideas. And then I'm just assuming that this is the one I want to pursue to fruition. What's this little area over here? Okay, so let's pick this material and let's turn material on and do this. Let's pick this color too. And nope, I guess I have to. Colliding? No. Go to paint here and MRGB. Yeah, here we go. What is going on over here? All right, just a little bit of geometry there. And I kind of like this a little bit that's eating in, so I'm not going to change that. At least not too much. All right, turn that off, go back to H polish and just kind of do a little bit of cleanup and touch up over here. Just, again, nobody's going to see it from this distance, but just a little bit of this I think makes a good difference. I think it's good to put a big crease over here, maybe something deeper, like so. And I might run a few cloth alphas on here too, just to kind of get some interesting folds. I'll do that next. And looks like I did some sloppy painting over here, so let's do a little bit of fixing up of that. Turn RGB on. So somebody, I think last time, asked if I know how to draw or paint, and the answer is you have to know how to draw and paint. There's no way around it. So right now this is painting. And if I really wanted to take this further, I would paint in layers and do all that stuff. But I'm basically going to get away with just using materials, I think, for this sculpt. Okay, let's go back to H polish. All right, this is looking good. Now the problem with this other material that I have on here is that it's not as more sloppy paint over here. I don't think I did the cleanup of painting on the shoes, so I'm doing it right now. You guys get to see it. How are we doing on time? We're doing okay. We're doing great. All right, no questions. Oh. I don't know how that came around. I think I probably chose it off of the radial menu. All right, let's take a look at something here. That's not what I wanted. All right. All right, so now I'm going to do the thing with the clothing alphas. So I'm just going to go to my brushes. And one thing I've been doing lately, I've been working on this motorcycle. You guys will see it soon. But one thing I've been doing lately is organizing my brushes. So I have way too many of them. And I started using the, is it XMD or whatever, that tool. Kind of start playing around with it a little bit earlier today. But what we want here is clothing. And I think I've got some wrinkle brushes in here somewhere. I think this one right here. Okay, this is good. And let's go with, how about this one? Okay, and drag dot is on, and let's just do that to it. So you can see here that just kind of adds a little bit of a neat kind of wrinkle to the shoe or the boot, so it doesn't look so stiff. Choose a different one here. Let's go for this one. That one would be good right here, like that. Maybe not so intense. It's too little. It's weird. The song that I was playing had like weird sounds, like there was somebody else, excuse me, in the stream. Okay, so one of the things I'm doing here is I'm adding these at a pretty high subdivision level, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to bring it down in subdivision level and add them, because I want them to be more structural and not just details. So here we go. Increase the intensity just a little bit. Here we go. So you can see here that that basically just made a really kind of cool bend over there. And let's just see if I can use that same one over here. That's a good one to use. That works out too. And last but not least, let's add one right here. And I'm going to add this in negative right there. And smooth it out, go up in subdivision levels, and those will be there. Yep, that works. All right, so that's basically, you go down in subdivision levels a few times here. Do a little bit more tweaking this way. That. Always got to account for the foot that's underneath it. I think that looks good enough. All right, so I think we're good with the shoes. Okay, so now it comes the posing part, and I'll just kind of give you an idea of what that is in a minute with this example. But let me log into Mixamo here, so you guys can see, because I also did a example of that. And hopefully it retained my model. I think it should have. Okay, so I haven't done it yet with all the details, but this is an earlier version of it. So LSD. Love that name. Okay, so how many polygons for the boots? Right now it is sitting at about 1 million polys, which is a bit of an overkill for them. But again, it doesn't really matter because, you know, I'm not really, this isn't a game res model yet. It's just a normal model. So here I just basically uploaded it to Mixamo, and I'll show you guys how to do this process if we have time today. If not, I'll do it next time. But basically, you know, an A pose is really boring, so I want to pose this astronaut in maybe 2 or 3 different poses. And there's a really neat way to do that in ZBrush. So the neat way to do it is to basically go in here and do to use a plugin and do, it's this plugin right here, which is Subtool Master, I think it's called. Subtool Master. So, no, it's not Subtool Master, sorry. It's Transpose Master. So you click on T-Pose Mesh, and it will take the lowest subdivision level of all of this and create one mesh, and then you export that out, and then you import it into Mixamo, right? So you just go to Upload Character, and you upload it, and then you basically have to place some markers of where the elbows and things are. And maybe we'll do that live. But once you have it in here, right, you just go in and pick a pose. And, you know, I always look for, I don't know, let's look at swimming. I'm sure there's a space flight one, but here's a swimming one. Okay. So here's my character in a kind of a swim pose, right? And I don't really need the animation on here. And you can see some funky stuff's happening with the fingers and whatnot, but all that can be fixed. But the most important thing here is that this has got 150 frames, which means I've got 150 poses. So here's my character floating in space, right? So, you know, there it is. There's kind of a floating in space kind of look, right? So I can just go ahead and look at all of these. Like here, maybe they're going towards a porthole or something, right? So there's all these different poses that I can get. So once I have this animation, I just download it, right? And I download this as a FBX file. And then currently, I know ZBrush can import FBX, but it can't, if it's an animation, it won't work. So what I do is I import it into either Blender or Maya, and then find the frame that I want, and then export that mesh. And once I export it, I bring it in, right? I bring it in and import it into whatever that T-pose mesh was, and then go T-pose to sub-T, and then all of the stuff that's around this model, the high-res, everything, will transfer over to that pose. So it's a really, really nifty way of doing it, and hopefully we'll get to do it next time. I probably want to do it a few times before I do it live, just because I don't want to run into issues and whatnot and have to troubleshoot it while you guys are watching. But here's another one, kind of, you know, maybe I'll have a porthole of sorts in a spaceship, and maybe she's kind of trying to come in, right? Or, yeah, so here we go. These are all kind of poses that I can use as her kind of floating around in space, right? And then if I want another pose where she's standing around, I'll just go in here and look for standing poses, like so. Right, and here's a standing pose right there. And this pose looks a lot better than the A pose. So like if I just had this pose, it would look a lot better, right? And one thing that's nice here is you can kind of increase the arm space. So it's maybe a bit too much. And let's see, here's another one. And I kind of like these poses where the person's moving around, even though it's not a standing pose, but maybe like here, as soon as, you know, you can kind of see the weight balance shifting. So you can get some really compelling poses that way. Let's see what else there is. Okay. This is how I feel about the ability to do this right here. Right, so here's a good sitting pose. Again, if the arms are kind of colliding, you can always kind of increase this character arm space. I'm going to pose it again, stop it again. So you can see now, if I go a little bit further, I think her hands will be above the legs. And of course I can always, it exports the rig into Maya as well, so I can fix it. Something really weird's happening with these fingers over here, which is kind of funny, but that's one of the things that I could fix. And then just for fun, you can always kind of look at some dance moves as well for the character. So here we go. It's always kind of fun to see your character doing shit like this. Pardon the expletive. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Booty dance. Oh, it never gets old. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. You know, why not? Of course, all this stretching and stuff needs to be fixed. Here's another one, right? So, I mean, you don't want to do this with this specific character, but, you know, there could be characters where this kind of makes sense. Here's this. And again, you don't need all the poses. You just need like one pose, like maybe, you know, something like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think this is going to work for anything I want to do with this guy, this lady. What's going on with this? And breakdancing, there you go. But there's always, you know, new stuff being added to Mixamo too. Oh, how about that? There you go. Oh, so good. Right? So again, all I need is one pose from all this, but usually I get like 5 or 6 and I just put them in the folder. And in the future, like if the client wants 1 or 2 or 3 different renderings of the character, you can do that. Now with 2D, you know, 2D concept art, you can do maybe 1 drawing or 2 or 3. And if somebody's really good, they can probably do a few renders, but they're not going to look exactly the same. The character isn't. So, I mean, usually when you look at concept art, it's usually just one, you know, it's just one pose of the character. So. I mean, here, there's quite a few, and again, I can increase the character arm space. There we go. And there is that. Right? I mean, there's a really awesome pose right there. Right? So this is, you know, at 0, which is like how it starts. So I can just export, you know, download this, go to Maya, import this, grab the model and export it, and then import it into here. So we'll do that whole process next year when I do my next stream. Okay, let's see. Time's doing okay. Let's go back. Now, what I need to do here, the thing to note is to bring it into Mixamo, you need to have the lowest subdivision level of certain things. And you definitely can't export this kind of high density mesh into it. So there are some CAD parts here, and those usually have problems loading into Mixamo. So what I usually do is I create placeholders for them. So what I do is I just either ZBrush them or Dynamesh them, like at really low resolution. And then once they move into where they're supposed to be, I mean, they're hard surface objects, I just pop the actual ones over where those pieces are. So we'll do all that next week. I'm sorry, not next week, but next episode. And the other thing I'll do next episode also, so we'll have one episode on kind of getting the pose finalized. And then we'll have one more episode where we do the render, and I think that should do it for this model. I think we're on episode 8, so 10 would be a good one for a character. So 2 hours an episode, 2 times 10, 20 hours. So maybe basically, you know, a character like this is going to take me 2 to 3 days to do, which is, you know, not bad. All right, so let's work on these gloves a bit. So let's subdivide them once. I'm gonna do something here where I divide it once without smoothing, another time with smoothing, so I get a little bit of the structure. So I'm assuming this is going to be a hard piece, and I'll probably put like a kit bash part there, And then I'm going to use the same trick I did earlier with the cloth brushes. So let's go ahead and bring these in. Let's see what would work here. How about let's try this one. Maybe one more subdivision. Hey, Olympus, welcome aboard. How are you doing? Right, so once again, the intensity is way too much. And it's intersecting, so maybe I'll go the other direction, see if we can get... This thing's going to bend here on this side. Like so. There we go. So here I'm just basically wanting to get... I'm wanting to get some sort of structural change. So this would be another area where it compresses. So I'm using the exact same brush. I'm just going the other direction like that. Again, same brush going the other direction. Maybe add an angle. And let's pick some of these other ones we were working with. And you can just overlay some of these on top of each other. Like that. Yeah, so this is kind of, you know, I mean, I could always use dynamics to do this too, but I think this is how I used to do it with 4 dynamics was a thing. And sometimes this method works okay. Look at that. It's not really aligned over here, but I can help it along. Let me just choose the good old standard brush. All right, back to this. And these are really easy to do. I mean, you can either get the brushes. I don't know where I got those brushes, but there's quite a few of these types of brushes around. And also, I mean, if you really want to, you can just take a picture of something, make it an alpha, and you know, it's a very easy way to do it, to make these brushes. There's nothing really special about them. So this is kind of looking like rubber gloves over here. So I'm going to adjust it a bit. I don't know if I'm happy with that one I did, kind of that separated out the fingers. I think that really kind of messed things up a bit, but nothing that can't be fixed. All right. Yeah, my beard is out of control too. Like I've got the full, I mean, usually I have a goatee, I don't have a beard. Also, my beard makes me look older than I really am. But yeah, I've been neglecting it lately, kind of getting more of the Santa beard going. Yeah, I usually have just a goatee. I don't usually have this big of a beard. I think this is just seasonal. A, it's cold, and B, it's festive. No, I have to tell you. No, I don't have to tell you how old I am. Why do I have to tell you? I'll give you a hint. I'm a late boomer. So. Almost borderline. All right, so the gloves are looking good. I'll probably make them a different material. Let's try those out. Maybe let's try and see if we can get this one right here. So I'll pick that material, that color, mRGB, fill object. That works. All right. And I'll probably have some electronics, like some sort of kind of band or something that comes on top of this. So maybe I'll start working on that in a little bit. Well, why don't I start working on it now? All right, so what do you guys think? You guys hear the music in the background that I'm playing? Is that better than it being silent? Should I do this from now on, or is silent better? Sometimes it's disruptive. I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of nice because it fills in the quiet moments. 21. God, 21. Man, that was an awesome age. I remember the night I turned 21, I was with friends, and I was at Comdex. I don't know if you guys remember what Comdex is, but it's basically a computer convention, and it used to be in Vegas, and it was a big deal. And all right, Lamont, the music is good, so we got one person voting yes on the music, so I think it's going to stay. So yeah, I was at Comdex, and this was, you know, in Vegas, and I just turned 21. So my friends wanted to introduce me to drinking. So, and you know, and I'd never really had too many drinks before. So we went to a casino, and they had me drink 3, I think, or 4 Long Island iced teas, and I'd never had them before. And so I don't know if you guys are familiar with what Long Island iced teas are, but they're really delicious and very potent. And I spent the rest of the night, you know, you guys know how I spent the rest of the night, just being completely obliterated drunk, and not very happy with my choice of drink. So all I can say is stay away from Long Island iced teas. They are not friendly. All right, so now I just basically extracted this piece out. And what I'm going to do is just zero mesh it with a lot less polygons. Even less than that. Even less than that. That's good. I got a little bit of funk over here. Let's get rid of that. All right, that's exactly what I want. Right there. So these are going to be like some sort of electronics bands or whatever, like some sort of a iPad or some sort of a thing that goes around her wrist. And it should be high enough so it doesn't interfere with the mobility of the wrist, but also the problem with it being so low poly now is that if I smooth it, it basically obliterates it. So I need to. have local on? I don't have local on. Here we go. Something like that. And maybe choose ZModeler and do an extrude a couple of edges here. Maybe it comes out this way. All right, one more. All right, just move this into place. So this is kind of like some sort of a display unit or whatever, like some sort of phone, or, and I don't know if I'm going to have it be on both arms, but I'm just, you know, right now it doesn't cost anything to have the symmetry, so I'm just doing it with symmetry. Like so. All right. How long did it take me to become a pro in ZBrush? I don't know if I'm a pro. I mean, I guess I am. I don't know. But I've been using it for quite a while. The program has been out for 24 years, and I think 2005 is when I came into it. Maybe longer. I don't know. 15 years. But I don't know if I would say I'm a ZBrush artist. Although ZBrush is my tool of choice, definitely the one I would choose if I was going to be on a deserted island. It does more of what I need than anything else. Like, I could create decent renders in it. I could model in it. I could do pretty much everything I need to do in ZBrush. So, but a lot of the knowledge is also just fundamentals. So that takes a long time. And for that, I'd say my whole life. All right, so that's about right. Let's add some thickness to it. No subdivisions, but thickness like that. And now I can get rid of some edge loops here that I don't need. Insert, but with Alt, it's delete. So here we go. So now, whoa, didn't want to save, go away. Right, so now I kind of just have this thing on top, which I'll Q-mesh up. Man, I love ZModeler. I just love it. Once I model in ZModeler, I don't want to model in any other program. Okay, I think it's having some struggles with the fact that it's thickness based. So I'm just going to go with this for now. But I want these here to be planar. So here's a nifty trick in ZModeler. To get things to be planar, you just go to mask, and I'm going to mask these polygons, invert that mask, pop the gizmo on here, pick the plane, and then just do this. And now it's planar. Right, because this is going to be like a piece of glass, so that does it right there. And just have to make it look like a rectangle, so I just have to fix this. I can do that same trick again if I need to, but I think this will do it right there. So this is going to be just like a straight piece of glass, and then the rest of it is just going to kind of conform to it. All right, like that. All right, so let's bring that back. Right, so this is going to be kind of like something on her wrist where she just basically looks at it for information, maybe tells her how much air she's got, or where, you know, maybe, you know, kind of do FaceTime with the station or whatever that she needs to do. And then I don't know if this is going to be a separate band or whatever, I haven't decided. And I could probably pop a kit bash part there. Another thing I was going to do also is this is going to be a patch here. So let me extrude that out. So I'm just going to go back to the costume and just mask out that area. All right. Leon, I hope that answered your question. So the thing is, people I think ask that question because they want to get good and they want to get good fast. And so, you know, I know when I first started using ZBrush, when I looked at what my teachers were doing, I was like, wow, you know, it's going to take me a long time to get that good. And I wanted to be that good right then because I had a lot of ideas in my mind that I wanted to do. But you know, I just was patient, and I had a lot of frustration at times. At times it looked like it wasn't going to happen, but I stuck with it, and over time I became better and better and better. And I still don't think I'm as good as I want to be. But you know, every day I work in ZBrush is one step closer to how good I am, or how good I want to be. So all I can say is it is a commitment, for sure. But don't disregard all the other important stuff. Okay, so now I've created the badge kind of with a mask. I don't have symmetry on, but doesn't matter. So let's use Extract Plus or Extract Pro Plus 2000. And okay, let's look at this part right here. A lot of detail that I don't need, so let's go ahead and look at the I'm going to let it autosave. I've done a lot of work. I don't want to lose it. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're getting there. So if you guys have any last minute questions, this would be a good time to ask. Oh. I think my cat gave up and went to sleep. She's not at the door anymore. If she comes back by the end, I'll bring her in, but otherwise, you guys saw her last time. Nothing much has changed. Oh, traditional painting. Well, that's great. If you teach traditional painting, that means you have a lot of the fundamentals down. That's a big advantage over somebody who doesn't. So, yeah. So that's that's a gigantic advantage you have. So you should definitely benefit from it. All right, so here I'm just basically zero meshing this so it gets to less topology. So I've got kind of a, again, remember I'm going to be exporting this to Mixamo. So I kind of need to have a lower resolution of this, and then I'm going to go to move here and use AccuCurve to get some sharp edges on this badge. So this probably is going to be kind of like a badge that you put on with Velcro or something that basically tells them who you are and what the name of the company is and all that good stuff. All right, so I'm just basically sharpening the corners over here with AccuCurve, like so. And yeah, I think that'll do it. Now I didn't put one on the other side, but there is one on the other side. So I'll just turn on off local symmetry here and do a mirror and weld. And then I got one on the other side, so that's good. And now I just want to add some thickness to this. No smooth subdivisions, but yes, for thickness. think that's good enough. And let's go ahead and make it. So apply. Now we have it. And what I want to do here is I want to increase the polygroups. Well, let me see what it's going to be like when I smooth it. It's not bad. Oh, that's why. It's not bad because it's still doing thickness. We don't want any more thickness, but we do want some smoothness. That's not bad. And maybe some flatness as well. That's good enough right there. I'm going to go ahead and apply that as well. Okay, and I'm going to add a border to this, but I'm not going to do it right now. But I do want to indicate it with a different material, so let me just find a material in here. Maybe, I don't know, how about satin and mRGB, and let's pick a lighter color, fill object, turn mRGB off, turn polyframe off, and there it is. Okay, so this will be kind of the badge that she's got on her arm. Usually badges are higher up, but I kind of like where that is. It fits okay, so that's good. And for the last few minutes, I kind of want to fix some of these parts that that are CAD parts that I put in as kit bash parts. So let's start with this one right here. Okay, so we can see here that there's a lot of interesting parts here, but I'm not, but if I look at the topology, it's hell on wheels. It's really bad. And if I do a dynamic subdiv on this, you can just see that it just completely falls apart, and we don't want that. And this will not export nicely into, I can't subdivide it, I can't export. I mean, it looks good on its own. It looks really nice, but it is definitely crap geometry. And if I was just to do a render of it like this, it would look fine. And I'll just do a quick BPR. Right? I mean, look at how nice that looks. But I can't subdivide it, I can't sculpt on it, I can't add damage to it. And also, when it exports into Mixamo, it's going to cause problems. So I can either forego exporting it, or I can try and make some good topology out of it. So the way I'm going to do that first is I'm going to bring it all the way down here to the bottom, and I'm going to split it to similar parts. Okay, so then there's this piece, and then there's this piece, and there is that. And so, see, these are not even similar. So they're the screws. These screws are probably the same exact thing, but since the topology of them is really weird, ZBrush did not see them as similar parts. So I'm going to kind of group these together like so and merge them down. So I'm going to pick this one, go to merge, merge down. So all four of these are together, and then I want all four of these to be together as well. Okay, and then let's make sure symmetry is on. It is on all of them. So let's start with this one right here. Turn Z symmetry on this as well. So no, maybe not Z symmetry also. Just X symmetry, it's good. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to zero mesh this. So go to zero mesher. First let me duplicate it just so I have a copy. Where's my duplicate? Okay, so there it is, and I'm going to not freeze border, but where is it? Detect edges. I'm going to turn that on and leave adaptive on for now. Let's just kind of do a default zero mesh, see what we get out of it. And I'm probably going to do this exact same process on all the other kit bash parts, so I'll probably do that off camera as well, just so I can get better topology and also get more decent. Okay, so it looks like the same shape, and I can bring up that. That's actually not bad at all. For a one button press, 3 topology, that is awesome. So let's look at what this would look like if I subdivide it once. So let me go to dynamic subdiv. With dynamic subdiv, it's perfect, right? So that's good. So I went down in poly count on it. So let's look at the original. So this is the original with this real janky geometry. And then here's this one, which is the one with good geometry. And oh, nope. Where is the good one? Did I undo? I did undo. Okay, here we go. So let me go back to this. So, and yeah, this is it with one subdivision level. So this is the CAD, and this is the zero meshed version. Not too different, okay? The only thing I also like about this is I like the color, so I'm going to grab that color and I'm going to fill this material. Let me just go to basic material here, and let me go to basic material 2 and fill this object with this color. Okay, did that work? I've got RGB intensity is 4. Let's go to 100. Fill object. There it is. Okay, so you know there's this one. Wait. Okay, that color. What material is this? Okay, I'll just fill it with that material too. Okay, so you know you can see this has a little bit of tighter edges, and this one has a little bit of loose edges, but it gets basically what I need across. And if I wanted it to have tighter edges, I can probably do a polish by feature. Let's see what that does. Polish by features. So that kind of loosens it up a bit more. So I think this is good enough. Right, so we have that part. I don't really need this CAD part anymore. I can get rid of it. Oh, for good measure, one other thing I can also do is I can do a projection. So let me do that as well. So basically I've got the CAD part over here, and I've got this part, which is the new part right here. So this is the part that has the CAD topology, and then this is the part that has the better topology. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to project whatever the CAD was onto this, just to add a little bit more of that crispness to it. Let me solo it out so you can see, and let me hide the polyframes. So now it actually is looking even more so like that other part. So here I'm just going to go back and forth between the two, and let me just go to solo mode. Right, I'm going back and forth between the two, and it is pretty darn close. It's still a little soft, but I can probably increase this projection angle and get even better topology. So I'm going to go to 0.04 here, and let's do one more projectile. Nope, I think I'm doing it on the wrong model. There we go, projectile. Okay, and maybe add one more subdivision level to this. So it's got 2 now. I'm going to turn dynamic off and add one more. And project all. Okay, so now I'm looking at both of them up and down. I'm in solo mode and I can't see a difference. The only difference is that this one over here has really horrible, or this one is the one with the better topology, and this one just has horrible topology. All right, so the horrible topology one I don't need anymore. I can delete it, and it is out of here. Now let's see what I can do with this part. Again, similar part right here. So I'm going to go into geometry. I think we're at time, but I'm going to go a little over. I'll do this whole part, and then we'll just call it a night. So there's that. I don't know if radial symmetry is feasible for this. I mean, maybe with 4. I don't know. Well, let's just try this. So here I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing, detect edges. I think I've got X symmetry on, I do. And I'm just going to, again, just press the button. I'm not even tweaking any of the settings. I'm just going to press that button, see what I can get. Oh man, I should have kept a copy of it. Oh well. Do I know when my next one is? So Lamont, my next one, my next stream is going to be with a group of other streamers on Tuesday coming up, the 21st. I'm not going to be working on this project. I'm going to be working on something different than this, but I will be continuing this in the new year, and I don't have the dates yet. But a good way to find out, and this would be a good time to mention this, is if you go to ZBrush Live, so pixologic.com/ZBrush Live, and if you go into the calendar, right over here, right, so here I think the next one is Steven Anderson and Shane and whatnot. This is the one I'm going to be on with a bunch of amazing people. And let's see. Okay, and I don't think they've put in the January ones yet, or maybe they have. I don't know. Let's see. No, I think yeah, they just haven't until December. But just go into here. Go to pixologic.com/ZBrushLive/calendar, and then the dates will be there. And I usually stream every other Friday, so chances are very good that it is going to be, and I'll just give you some tentative dates here. Again, this is all depending on a lot of things, but it looks like the 7th, probably I'll be doing one, January 7th and January 21st. So probably those will be the dates. Okay, so this came back, but what I forgot to do is duplicate it, so I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to go back to the first one and move on to that ZBrush and examine it. Actually, it is also not bad, right? And let me add a subdivision level here. That makes it better. Maybe add one more. That makes it better as well. And I'm going to do the same thing with the projection. I'm going to bring up the CAD version and then this one. I think this one is my... See, I can't even tell anymore. Okay, yeah, this one's the one I need to project onto. Project all. Yes. Okay, and there it is. So now this is the one that is the Dynameshed version, and this is the one that is the CAD version, which again I don't need anymore. So adios, muchachos. I'm going to delete it. And now I've got these pieces, and so I don't know how well these pieces will do, but let's duplicate these as well, and let's see. So same story, geometry, ZBrush, and detect edges, and let's see how that works. I probably should do one of these by itself, probably get better results. Actually, that is not bad at all. Look at that. I think it looks good. I don't have to do anything else. I mean, they're small parts anyway, so done. Done and done. So I'll do one projection just to get the color. So let me align those up. So I don't need that guy anymore. So I've got this one and the one here. And this is the one that needs to be projected. So project all. And let's see if it got the color. It did. So again, this is the ZBrush one, and this, you can barely see the difference. I think there's a little bit of, I think if you just look, you know, again, this is me, my trained eye looking, but if you look at this edge over here, you can see that this has a little bit finer detail. But if I just subdivide this once and do the projection, I'll make sure I'm on the right one, project all. Now I got that perfect kind of edge. So that's good. And again, I don't really think I need this level of detail. I'm just doing it just to do it. But I could have probably left it at the lower subdivision level and it would have been fine. So let's get rid of the CAD version here. Okay. And last but not least, let's see how these little screws do. All right, so this is what they look like in CAD. I mean, just triangle soup, as it is called. And what we'll do here is just go to duplicate it. And I did duplicate it already, or did I? No, I didn't. Okay, so this is the previous one. There it is. And what I'm going to do is go in here, ZBrush, detect edges, and just press the button. Again, I'm not tweaking any settings. I'm just letting it do its thing. And again, it looks pretty decent right off the bat. Let's look at the topology, not bad. I could probably go down in one subdivision level, but I think this is good for what it is. I am going to do a project just to get the color of the previous one. Okay, there it is. That's weird. What happened there? Oh, I know what happened. So since I've got X symmetry on, so I'm going to turn that off. Let me go back to it being CAD. Turn X symmetry on, so it doesn't use symmetry, and do the ZBrush. Okay, that's good enough. There it is, and let's look at the topology. Yep, it's pretty decent. And last but not least, let's do a quick projection to get the color, and there we go. So looking at the difference between the two, barely noticeable. All right, so again, I can get rid of the CAD part. That's not it. This is the CAD part. Delete that. Okay. All right, so now I've got this whole thing as good topology that I can actually go down in subdivision levels and use to export to Mixamo. All right, so I think that'll do it for tonight. I want to thank you all for staying on, and happy holidays. I'll have I'll drink a toast to you guys. We'll see you on Tuesday. If some of you want to tune in, it's at 6 p.m. Los Angeles time. So tune in for that. I'll probably be doing another character. We've got an interesting topic at hand. And it'll be fun to interact with some of the other folks that are going to be on here. And other than that, I will see the rest of you on this project next year. Have a happy holidays, happy New Year. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.